One day in the mid-90s, bullets rained down on a small-town elementary school playground. In this random attack, many children were injured or even killed. Then, in 1998, Dr. Robert Pyrunes and Dr. Cameron Nader, both experts in PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder, interviewed 133 children about their experiences that day. To their amazement, children who weren't even at school on the day of the attack recalled having vivid memories of the shooting, and they were genuine about it. According to Dr. Nader, this raised the questions: why would these children remember something so harrowing if they hadn't actually experienced it? What kind of trick was their brain playing on them, and why did this happen? Today, I will be exploring how your brain plays tricks on your memory through false memory syndrome. Whether you're just telling your friends a story or explaining to a police officer what happened at the scene of a crime, understanding and controlling the accuracy of your memory is vital. Now, to guide us through the craziness of your mind's power, I will discuss how the idea of false memory syndrome came about, who is prone to it, and how you can train your brain to avoid this strange diagnosis. First, I'm going to briefly go into the history of how the idea of false memory syndrome came about. Now, I call it an idea because essentially that's all it is, an idea. The syndrome is not recognized in any major references pertaining to mental illness, and therefore is considered a pseudoscientific syndrome, or a fake syndrome. Now, you may be wondering, if it's fake, then why are we even using it as a diagnosis? As stated by the False Memory Foundation, the term was first used in 1992, when parents began being wrongly accused for child molestation or abuse. Children were accusing their parents of things that hadn't ever really happened in their memory, but a pseudo-memory was making them believe that it had. According to Dr. Catherine Myers from Rutgers University in 2006, most of these children were going through intense therapy sessions where the constant repetition of questions being asked about their family would make them mix reality with what their lawyers and therapists were trying to make them believe happened. However, in more recent studies, scientists have found that signs of false memory syndrome are becoming more and more obvious in our day-to-day lives. Secondly, I will talk over who is really in danger of acquiring false memory syndrome. Now, I know what you're thinking. It has to be the young and the old, right? The kids and the grandparents? Well, yes and no. Yes, it is the children and the elderly. However, it is essentially everyone. We are all at risk of false memory syndrome. But all of my memories are real. Well, are they? In a study done by a popular TV show called Mind Games in 2012 that aired on the National Geographic channel, where a group of people watched a crime and then were later asked to confirm what they had seen. Most people were right until they had a group interview and had bait people sit in. Bait people are simply people who are told to say a certain thing. So in a discussion of what color the woman's coat was, a bait person said her coat was blue. By the end of the interview, every person's memory had changed to remember a woman in a blue jacket instead of the red one she was actually wearing. Now, why does this happen? You see, our memory is constantly shifting without us even noticing it. For people with severe cases of false memory syndrome, it may be as bad as believing you did your homework because you saw someone else doing theirs. Now, I'm guessing no one in this class has memory that confused. However, by changing the way you memorize, you may be able to change your entire way of thinking. Finally, I will give just a few tips to train your brain how to fight against false memory syndrome. Like any other muscle in our body, our brains need a good workout to stay in tip-top condition. When working out your brain, it's important to work on your long and short-term memory. This is important because in the real world, you never really know when you're going to need to have to remember something, so it's just good to be prepared. A game that I play every morning walking to school is the Faces game. Since I walk 5 blocks to school every morning, I pass several people. Now when I pass them, I give them a warm smile. But while doing so, I try and remember everything I can about that person. What color was his shirt? Did he have any strange markings or tattoos? Was he wearing a hat? And other things like that. Then on my way home, I'll see if I can visualize that person in my mind. This is the same technique that police officers use when looking for suspects. Not only does it help your brain on short-term memory recall, but it also makes you more aware of your surroundings. Also, according to Lumosity, a website created in order to improve memory, another exercise that will help all of us in our day-to-day lives is the lists game. Say I have a list of groceries. I need milk, potatoes, onion, bread, and toilet paper. One way I can remember this whole list is by going through a familiar place in my mind and placing objects there. For example, I'm going to walk you all through my house. As soon as we open the big green doors, my sister's cow Elsie is right there inside the door, asking if I got milk. After walking past her into the kitchen, I'm greeted by Mr. Potato Head, who has gross breath. Perhaps he was eating onions or something. Then we wrap into my living room. We're sitting right there on the couch with Stevie Wonder, eating the last piece of Wonder Bread. And he keeps cursing like a potty mouth, so perhaps I should buy some toilet paper to clean him up. Now I know this is silly, but it'll help you with your long-term memory, because your home is most likely ingrained in your long-term memory, and by being in a familiar place, our brain feels confident in our memory of it, and therefore it's easy to place random objects and not forget them. Also, according to the Discovery Channel, various other actions, such as exercising your entire body, drinking less alcohol and more water, and actually just practicing memorizing random things can greatly increase your memory. Now let's take a look at what we've learned about. In a nutshell, I have discussed how the ideas of false memory syndrome came about, how everyone can be affected by it, and how you can train your brain to fight against it. Whether you're trying to remember someone's phone number or what a suspect looked like, your brain's image through memory may not be as strong as you once thought. Never forget to remember responsibly. Thank you.